Mark Golding, in a recent gathering with the Rastafari community, explaining the blunder of the government to transform the ganja industry for the benefit of their own and not for the Rastafari and the people who suffer and die for ganja openly.
The only exception was for research and development. We had a lower threshold because we realized that the high capital that might be required might be difficult to attract the necessary resources to really high level science. If you require that 50, I think the requirement is at least 25% ownership for Jamaicans for research and development. For all other commercial activities, must be at least 50% Jamaican owned. Now, we had never intended to charge any material fees for small farmers to access the industry through the CLA. We had committed to making it the first acre free of cost and so on from a fees perspective. But you see what happened, the government changed. The man who come in, they never understood the spirit of it. It wasn't their thing. The new Minister of Justice, in dealing with it in a totally different way. I had established a thing called the Rastafari Advisory Council. That was to advise the Minister of Justice on all issues to do with Rasta. Some of the issues that have been raised, the daughter who raised him was supposing somebody harassed about the law of blacks and so on. It's a very tricky issue, a very difficult issue, because as we know, we're not, the culture of Rasta is not around wire fence or any kind of segregation thing. So it's a difficult issue. But what I had hoped was that the Rastafari Advisory Council, at which all the major mansions were invited to be, from Nyabingi to Bobo to House of Dread to 12th Tribe to the School of Vision, yes, you know, they were to help Minister of Justice deal with those issues in a way that was responsive to the needs of the community, you know, and that was the idea. I hear that body don't really exist again. I don't know what happened to it. I hear the minister was going on a churchical thing, like you had to be at church, you know. No, the only church I know of is the Abuna Fox Church, you know, the Church of Haile Selassie I, which I actually helped him to get incorporated into law. It had been in Parliament for God knows years and years and years, and the man in Parliament had to fight for no good reason. And I was on the committee as a young legislator at that time and got a Abuna Fox legislation passed, and so that church has a private act of Parliament incorporating it. But the rest of the community don't really deal with it that way. So that whole approach couldn't work. There are many challenges because the international system in relation to herb is still very backward. So when it comes to things like banking, as we know, and financial transactions, very difficult. But I still think that the way in which the system has been rolled out has not been inclusive, and that is very unfortunate because it should have been, it was supposed to be a thing to empower those people who had carried the burden of oppression under prohibition for a century or more. It was not intended to be a thing where those people are kept out and the only people who are allowed in are those who are already empowered with economic resources. So that was, it has not worked the way it should have worked. It's me appoint IAV and Prophet Greg to the Cannabis Licensing Authority. The Minister of Justice has 4 appointees, and 2 of them were from the Rasta community at the time. You know, and my hope was with that would have helped to guide the CLA in their dealings with the Rasta community in a progressive direction, and also to give the intellectual understanding of the Rasta community to the work of the CLA and how they deal with herb generally as a commercial construct. That was the idea. So at this time, you know, what I would like to see is that the business model for ganja that the community would like to see be the blueprint, so to speak, for how the community, the Rastafari community, can deal with herb in a way that they feel is righteous and progressive and fair. I'd like to see that develop, and I'd like to see those regulations develop to give that the force of law, because although, as Nai said, you know, you might be above the law or below the law, but as somebody who approaches this thing through the state, the law matters to me, because we have to abide by the rule of law. So I'd like no say your legal rights are clear. So no guy can come and deal with you in a shabby way because you have your legal rights. The issue about Rastafari possession of ganja and being brought before the parish court and charged, that should have been dealt with and nipped in the bud from a long, long time. And it could have been by a definitive ruling and opinion from the Attorney General's chambers, which could have been sent to every parish judge and to the Commissioner of Police to be disseminated right through the force. And each station should have a copy of that opinion.
Closing out for now, this is One Avenue News. Avenue for your news, views, reviews, and much more. New spot on the block where we chat. Looking forward to meet you in the comment section. So flick the subscription button, turn on notification bell. Let's journey together. And please remember, we need solution, not confusion. United we win, my people. Art of